years 9 and 10. Well done, you're through to the video support to go with Once Upon a House on Fire, which is your work for the week beginning July the 6th. I am going to take you through all 5 question types that you might find on that exam today. You've been doing really well with question 1. Question 1 is usually a list 5 question, so I'll go a little bit easier on that this week, but do watch out for a couple of pitfalls that I'm going to talk to you about. Question 2 is impressions. You're doing well with impressions, but again, things that teachers have fed back to me, we're going to look at where things can be a little problematic with question 2, and I'll take you through question 2. Question 3, how does the writer? Again, just following our little formula, you're going to do really well on that, but I'm going to concentrate on vocabulary there, specifically for attitudes, which is what you're asked in question 3. I'm going to look at structure again in question 4, and how we need to look at language to tell us the individual aspects of an extract, and also a question 5, which asks you to focus on building an argument. I haven't done any of these with you so far this half term, so we will have a look at that as a new skill. So that's our big focus for these lessons today and this week. Okay, so having a look, you'll be on Google Classroom, or you will have the pack printed for you and sent in paper copy in front of you. So question 1 asks you to read section 1 and list 5 things we learn about Andrea's new father. Okay, so we know that we overlist. Don't forget, if we can find 6 or 7, then that's fantastic. Okay, so by the time I was 6, our mother's stomach was swollen full of a 3rd child. She was lucky to find someone prepared to take on a pair of orphans and save her from growing lonely. She told her friends when they showed surprise. A looming, red-faced man, quite a bit older than her, stepped into our house for tea and was introduced to Laurie and me as our new daddy. I used to be a sailor, he told us, in the merchant navy, like on the big ships. Okay, so as you've read that through, you will have noticed that some of this is about her mum, and some of it is about this new man, this new father in her life. So you are going to now underline, if you can, 7 things that we are told about the new father, the man who is described in that section. Okay, so I'm going to time that for you, but we're going to work live together. So the 2 minutes will run on the video while I'm underlining and you are underlining. We'll very quickly go through and then you can write that answer up. Okay, right, so 2 minutes, underline, off you go. You're 1 minute in. Okay, you have 30 seconds. Scooch the video forward if you need, if you're ready for the next section. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so hopefully you have now got 5 to 7 things that we learn about the new father. So let's check them. I have underlined someone prepared to take on a pair of orphans. That someone, it's the mother describing, but the someone is this new father. So he was someone prepared to take on a pair of orphans. That could be your first in the list. I then underlined and save her from growing lonely. So the her is the mother, but he is someone who would save her from growing lonely. Number 2. Now I missed out looming. I will come back to it. So my number 3, he was a red-faced man. And then the 4th thing I underlined was that he was quite a bit older than her. Quite a bit older than her mother, that is. That is not Andrea, that's her mother describing the new father. So that's my number 4. Number 5, I looked at, he stepped into our house for tea and was introduced to Laurie and me as our new daddy. So I might put there, he came for tea and was introduced as their new daddy. Or you could just put, he'd been introduced as their new daddy. And then number 5, used to be a sailor. I nearly said soldier, which is untrue. He used to be a sailor. That's why we overlist, because if you have a brain glitch and you naturally write soldier, you're going to get it wrong. Okay, he used to be a sailor. And then I also underlined in the Merchant Navy. So I would put he was in the Merchant Navy on the big ships. Okay, so there is plenty there. Let's come back to that word looming. Now, you might have decided, well, I've got 7 already. I'm not going to unpick that word. He's described as looming, so you can put he is looming in a little quote. And you really wouldn't have to know what the word looming meant in that case, would you? But looming, let's do a bit of vocabulary work. Looming, it's when someone looms over you, that they have a big, tall presence. So you could have worked out from that information that he seemed tall to Andrea. She felt he loomed over her, or she saw him as looming. Okay, perfect. So that's question 1 done in terms of the reading prep. So all you need to do now in between the end of this video and the beginning of the next one is spend 3 minutes writing that list up. Please, please, please be careful. You need to make everything on the list answer the question. So you can't just put big ships, because big ships does not answer the question. Yeah. He sailed on big ships does answer the question. So please double check that. Some of you have been losing marks, particularly in my set, just 1 or 2 marks there for not answering the question. Just not saying quite enough. Okay, I'm going to see you in 3 minutes if you're also going to do question 2 today. Otherwise, see you back here tomorrow.